They may or may not impact your daily lives. And so I ask you, what do your local essential worker heroes have in common with those on the silver screen, your fave Hollywood stars? I mean, both may or may not be sexy and shirtless. I'm talking to you, the fire department of New York. I miss a good shirtless, sexy fireman moment. I love a good objectification moment of men. Can I just say, I was at the grocery store the other day. I no holds bar eyed this hot man up and down. And ladies, get a load of this. He was wearing sweatpants, gray sweatpants, I know. And he saw me do it, and I regret none of it. I regret zero of it. And it just felt so good. It's like, yeah, I'm going to objectify the shit out of you, bitch. But then he turned his head. And what did he don? He donned, you guessed it, a good old mask, and I just was like, my boner shrunk to the size of Hawaii on a global map. I just was like, wow, talk about a boner killing moment of the ages. But the larger scale here, like I said, the question of the day. I mean, when you think about it, right? Shirtless or not, these people are in the public sphere one way or the other, whether it be your local, like I said, essential workers, heroes of, yesteryear, and the actors who are on screen and may or may not look, they impact us. I'm not going to lie. They take me out of, my down days, So what do they really, though, have in common when you think about it? And I'm thinking about the picture, and the answer is nothing, you a-holes. And that is the episode for today. No, okay, we're going to look at this. So here's what's going on. If you didn't know, if you're sunbathing on Hawaii, in Hawaii, or around Hawaii, in which case, good for effing you. Okay, thank you for the invite, not so much. Okay, so here's what's going on, guys. People, essential workers who were literally our heroes 5 seconds ago are now being pretty much fired from their jobs because of this BS vax mandate that can F right off. It can F on down from here to Chinatown because it is despicable. Okay. The federal government has given employers who have over 100 employees a deadline. Yes, a deadline. Harder than your high school AP Lit essay. I'm still on that high school theme from our episode earlier this week. December 8th, the staff has to be vaccinated or follow strict guidelines. And if you're convulsing, I'll have you know I'm vaccinated. So calm the H down. So here's what's happening. We're seeing this happen all around town. We are seeing cops leave their jobs in protests, calling out sick. Get a load of this, okay? Over 2,000 New York Fire Department firefighters called in sick to protest. That's more than double of what they would get on a standard day, is about 1,000. Let's see, the airlines are a mess. We know this. We have seen shortages everywhere from American to Southwest, which both are travesties. Don't even get me on the experience. Like, who in their right mind would fly Southwest anyway after a part of their airplane literally flew off on Mars one time recently? Do you guys remember that? Okay, you couldn't get me to step foot. But nonetheless, their pilots, their flight attendants, their gate workers, all these people who work for them are on the low protesting these mandates. It's either keep your job or get this vaccine. And I love it because the news is like, we are seeing unprecedented hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis. The eye of the hurricane is on the Southwest headquarters. I mean, it is hilarious, but we all know what's really going on. And I've heard stories of even pilots saying on the low, the people who run this place don't even have an idea of how many of us aren't for this. So, okay. I also saw 72% of unvaccinated people. I saw this on CNN. So I don't know if this is in general or what, like who this applies to, but 72% guys of unvax are vowing to quit jobs. Okay. I mean, the one that really gets me is New York City, because New York has forced 9,000 of its employees to go on unpaid leave. This just started. And the reason I'm saying this is because this has all gone down in the last couple days, mostly on Monday, because in New York, Monday, November 1st, that day hit. It was doomsday. And these people were like, show us the card or go get drunk at the bar. You have no place here. Actually, they probably just should go get drunk at the bar. I mean, at this point, who the fuck cares? But anyhow, it is just a mess. It is a mess. I mean, 9,000 employees in New York leaving their job, unpaid leave, because they had to show proof by November 1st of vaccination. And they were like, nah, bitch, you don't tell me what goes in here. But the part that really gets me going again, that just gets my nipples twisted, and in not a good way, not in like a sexy firefighter calendar, firefighter of the year way, is how, like I said, these people were praised as they should have been by everyone under the sun 37 milliseconds ago as our essential worker heroes. And now it's like, you don't have a job, honey. Say bye to your 401k. It was fun while it lasted. And on top of it, the audacity that the garbage news has to blame it on weather conditions and all kinds of shit from under the sun. It's an atrocity. I even saw the LA County sheriff. He literally said this. I saw this in a video, and he's saying we're not enforcing this because, LA is like to the nth degree. I mean, they love masks more than they love masturbating. Like, it is their religion. Okay. And he said, there are people who, I quote, worship at the altar of wokeism. It's just not us. Like, what? Can you believe it? That wokeism is even making its way into this dialogue. I can't. Okay. So nurses, I've seen videos of nurses and doctors leaving their jobs. Again, these heroes who saved our lives, who put their life, even these firefighters literally risk their lives, risk maybe not coming home to their family and their kids that night, jumping into the fires to save your ass. And I love it too, because there are stories that are like, even nurses have misinformation too, guys. And it's like, these are the people in the trenches. You know better than them. What's hilarious to me is Eric Garcetti, who is the mayor of LA County. Like, I just truly can't with this guy. If I had every carton of eggs in America, I would egg the shit out of his house. Vandalism charges or not, I don't care. Peaceful protesting, people. Okay. And by the way, he tested positive for COVID, which I think is hilarious, because he's like, we're 17 masks today, and then get your booster 17 ways from Sunday. But he said in a quote, the reason he's mandating all of this shit is, by the way, in LA County, you have to have a vaccine card to do anything pretty much indoors, anything indoors. Okay. And he said, I just can't lose another firefighter or policeman, to this. And look, I know COVID is a health issue. I know it's this, horrible disease. But at this point, is this still about COVID? I mean, we're going to get into this, but are we still I mean, are we still, for whatever reason, these people are holding on? It's like they enjoyed 2020 a little too much, if you know what I mean. Like, we're still going to make stuff about COVID. So I'm not downplaying it, but I'm just saying still, like, at the same time, we're seeing stadiums of thousands of people do the wave and do handstands on each other. So there's a part of me that is like, give me a break. But the Eric Garcetti thing is hysterical, because he's like, I don't want these people. I can't say bye to one more firefighter. And meanwhile, the firefighters are like, deuces. They're the ones walking off from the job. Like I said, calling out sick, protesting, walking off the job, doing unpaid leave, whatever it is, risking it all. But you know better than them, I guess, even though they're the ones, like I said, throwing themselves in, sacrificing and risking it all. But you know better, I guess. So here is what is so interesting to me, because of course my forte is the world of Hollywood. And what's so fascinating is how you wouldn't believe this, guys, but Hollywood is like a tiny little microcosm of, I think that you thought that I was going to say it's a tiny little pee-pee dick, which it is what they are all acting like right now. And I'm going to talk about that. But it's a little microcosm of all of this going on. So, right, this has all been playing out in the last couple of days, because that's when these deadlines, like I said, have been hitting by this day, by this day, by this day. Like, these little Hitlers literally have another thing coming. I know, I'm a Jew who made a Hitler joke. Get over it. So that's what we do. We're tough enough to deal. So take a memo. Okay. So Hollywood is a little microcosm, though, because believe it or not, I mean, you would think out there in syringe world, they would be hooting and hollering all day long. Like, they would have gotten 6 booster shots by now, pumping their bodies with all this stuff. But believe it or not, they actually reflect the rest of the country. I read that only about 50% of, people in Hollywood are actually vaxxed. And there's a tiny little, dare I say, civil war going on, because these studios and these producers and these movie showrunners, they don't know what to do with themselves, because half of these actors are like, I'm not doing this. And it's so fascinating. It's like, is Hollywood, are celebrities just like us? Are they more like us than we thought? No, but really, I mean, let's dissect this. And there are some, thank God, who are like how I feel, which is do what is right for you. I'm not over here dictating when you should go get a pap smear, when you should go get your balls checked. You do that at your discretion. I'm not going to tell you. And people will say, yeah, but it's not affecting the rest of us and blah, blah. Well, guess what, bitch? If you're running around town with every STD under the sun, I'm pretty sure that's going to affect other people. So do you require them to show their latest STD test before getting nasty and rolling around in the sheets? Okay. I didn't think so. So anyway, here are some people, though, who are just like pretty savage. And you know what? I'm not going to be a hypocrite. As I've said that at this point on Cancel Me, Baby, I've come to terms with the fact that celebrities are going to be vocal about political, issues. I used to say, quit preaching to us from your Princess P castle on the hill. I don't want to hear it. You're out of touch. But now I'm like, you know what? Everything is political, everything. And like, honestly, this little baby pumpkin here is political. Like, I feel like it definitely has a stance about something one way or the other. If you're listening, there's a baby pumpkin that is like hanging out with me. It's my only friend that my mom bought me, but that's neither here nor there. I digress. So I don't mind that. And that celebrities are going to speak up about stuff. And you know what? I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm not just going to bash you if I don't agree with you. I've said it before. If you are about something, be about it, period. I don't care if I disagree. I don't care if you're the bane of my existence. I'm going to be like, you know what? At least they're sticking their neck out and doing it. Okay. So here are some of the savagery. We have Pink, who tweeted, I'm not trying to get polio. All of you who are protesting in California against vax mandates, F right off and or suck my balls. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. She also tweeted, I wish it was the nurses and doctors' choice not to care for when your dumbass gets sick. Again, which goes into my thing earlier, which is like, half of these people, like, they're in the medical field seeing what's going on. And even they're like, I'm not being forced to do this shit. Try again. But that's fine. George Clooney, here's what this guy had to say. It's stupid. And it's stupid because every generation in our country for more than a lifetime has been asked to sacrifice. I love it. The whole sacrifice debate, right? Sacrifice something for the safety of their fellow men. Whether it be get a shot, fight the Nazis. All that anyone's being asked here is to get a shot in the arm and put on a mask, grow up, get something done. And I just want to sidebar. And this is where, because I've heard people who are in this camp, going, I hate that we're called sheep. We're not sheep. We're not doing what people are telling us. We are just doing, the science backs it. Although this science like changes like the colors of the rainbow, pun intended. Like the science doesn't even know its ass from its elbow these days. What is science this day? I don't know. But either way, they'll be like, we're just following the science. We're doing what we think is right. We're not a bunch of sheep just following the herd. We're just doing the right thing, because we don't want to get other people sick and keep this thing going on round and round. I get it. That is valid. But all I'm asking is to please respect somebody who's going, you can get 16 boosters if you want. You'll be protected. I don't care. But why do you, if you're protected and you're good, why does your ass have to dictate what's going in here? You know what I mean? Have a little understanding and quit annihilating. That's the other thing. Quit annihilating the other side. Like they're, again, this idea of like, they're so selfish. They're so rotten. They're so misinformed. They're so awful. You got to stop, because clearly it ain't helping. You have these people walking, like moonwalking off of these jobs harder than Michael Jackson. Okay. Here's somebody else, Sean Penn. So Sean Penn left one of his sets. This was like, I think a couple months back, straight up walked off for months and demanded that everybody on the crew be vaxxed. Like Diva is a female version of a hustler. My God, 2.0 Diva. But hey, you know what? There's a part of me again that's like, you're being about it then, guy. Okay, you're being about it. This one is like divisive as hell and just makes me shake. Giancarlo Esposito. I don't know who this is, but he's in Better Call Saul. He said, you're saying fuck you to all other human beings. We all have to do it if we want to live. Again, it's this idea. It's like, do it for the better of, the sake of mankind. And it's also like, flip the script for 5 seconds. Is this not sacrifice? All of these people who have to get unpaid leave, walk off their job, pretend to call out sick, boycott, protest in jobs maybe that they've, again, sacrificed for and have been in for perhaps decades, for something that they believe in just as much as you believe in getting this. Like, is that not sacrifice? Oh! Think about that. Okay. But here's where I'm like, hold on a sec. Is Hollywood growing a pair of balls? Speaking of balls, some peeps in the NBA, I'm talking to you, Kyrie Irving. Now, this guy is the leading star of the New York Nets. And here's what he said, because New York requires by law, like they are in a woke showdown with LA. They were like, I will out woke you. So if it's the last thing I do, so help me God. So they have their athletes required to be vaccinated to practice or play. So here's what he said. He's a star player, mind you. He said, I'm doing what's best for me. I know the consequences here. And if it means I'm judged and demonized for that, that's just what it is. But I never want to give up my passion, my love, my dream just over this mandate. And this got a lot of heat. It's got a lot of buzz, because you can't take a stand. You got to just shut up, shoot up and just play and be quiet. Okay. So that got a lot of attention. Here's another one for you. Jonathan Isaac. He's on Orlando Magic team. And this guy, he's only 24, a little baby, but similar kind of thing. Basically said, I know what's best for my body. I don't feel comfortable, but by all means. Oh, and the man I just mentioned, Kyrie Irving, I think that he, because of this, wasn't playing because of, like I said, in New York, you have to be vaxxed to practice or play. But you guys, like, do I look like a sports aficionado? I didn't think so. Okay. This pumpkin is more well-versed than I am, but a bitch can try. But anyhow, I'm telling you what you need to hear. Now, when this guy, Jonathan Isaac, the 24-year-old, spoke out, I just want to show you like how the media skews everything, because they are on their bullshit. Like, here are the first two stories from The Guardian. Fox News and the right will praise unvaccinated NBA players, then use them. And I actually read this piece, and it's from this man who was a former NBA player, and he makes valid points. One of them being that people on the right will be like, Hollywood, or, entertainers, just dribble the ball, just act in the movie, just ride the golf cart on the Warner Brothers set, quit preaching to me. But then as soon as they do something like this, they're like, bravo, which they do that shit. I'm not going to lie. They do that. Here's one for the Rolling Stone. The NBA's anti-vaxxers are trying to push around the league and it's working. Do you like my dramatic reading? Okay, I'm like full on fucking deranged today, but it's fine. Okay, so then we have LeBron, good old LeBron. And LeBron like got a lot of heat because he was, God, so many puns. It's like not even right. He got a lot of heat because he said that he was hesitant for a while. So finally he came out and he was like, I ended up getting it, but you do what you want to do with your body. Yes, I've talked about, social justice and police brutality, but this is an individual issue. Now that is like a whole other ball of wax because people can argue like, well, no, this isn't an individual issue because if you don't get it, then that affects someone else and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But my point is this guy had a neutral stance, even said he got it. And look at how the media shit on him harder than that final scene in White Lotus. If you know, you know. Here are some headlines. LeBron James shouldn't cover for the NBA's vaccine refusers. That's in the Atlantic. Here's MSNBC, my fave. Why LeBron James's COVID vaccine cop-out is bad for the NBA. Here's sporting news. Celtics, I don't know how to, whatever. Somebody who was on the Celtics is disappointed in LeBron. Like, LeBron, you should have known. You should have known better. So here are some more people growing some balls. So we have athletes. And by the way, Tom Brady is like my magnificent and magical dick of my dreams. Like, he is just my dream guy. And this motherfucker hasn't been vaxxed. Because remember when he came out on the Super Bowl not wearing a mask and people lost his mind, and he is like the most fitness fanatic, obsessed dude you'll ever meet. TB12 is his sports, his routine. I know because I have the book, but ask me if I ever read it. But I read a glimpse, and this guy is literally a wild beast machine. He's like, I will have 3 drops of electrolytes at 6 a.m. and then 3 egg whites. Like, he is a monster. Works out 100 times a day. My point is, all of these athletes have the best of the best trainers, doctors, physical therapists, you name it, in their heads on their team. So you would think, again, like, they know the best of the best care. So if they're going, you know what, I'm young, I'm healthy, I'm going to take my chances, I'm good. Is there maybe some validity in that? I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, and then you have other athletes who are going, I don't know, man, because I got it and I have not performed the same. So I'm just saying, and you could be listening to this going, why are you coming off as, dare I say, so anti-vax right now? And I'm not, again, I've had it. But this is, I feel like, what is like the media is driving us to do. Like, it's pushing something so hard to the point where people have to literally leave their livelihoods, leave the source that allows them to put food on their families' tables, that it makes people be like, why are you forcing me? Leave me alone. If I wanted to reside in China, bitch, I would. Right. So it has the adverse reaction. It makes people like me be like, oh my God, can you let people live their lives or not? Especially now, we're 2 years into this shit. Half of the people are vaccinated. We're going to be okay. But how it is honestly spilling out into Hollywood, it's almost comical. It's entertaining. Like, these people are so extreme. They will shoot down an entire production over one person testing positive for COVID. And if you think I'm kidding, Google it, because this allegedly happened with Miles Teller on a series that I believe it's called One Case. It's a Godfather series on Paramount Plus. So this guy tested from one case and they reportedly lost $6 million. Like, this is how aggressive that they will go. And the reason Hollywood is melting down with existentialism is because they're not in this 100 employees rule. They don't have a universal rule in Hollywood. So it's up to the individual, basically, productions and studios and networks to decide. Like, what a clusterfuck. So then I read about an unnamed, like, let's take a bet. Who do we think that this is? I don't know why, but my bet is on Jack Nicholson, because that dude has never stepped foot outside of The Shining. Like, he is in it. He still lives there. It is his world. I don't know why. I just feel like this gives me Jack Nicholson vibes. But an unnamed A-lister got COVID. Okay. And this is someone who actually, maybe it's not Jack Nicholson because the articles wrote it up as somebody, again, so condescending, as someone who's known to be, and I quote, dismissive of vaccines and masks. So anyway, they got it. Other people on the set got it. So they shut down and the studios lost 7 figures, allegedly 7 figures. And that brings me to my guy, Ice Cube. Like, I just love, for the aforementioned reasons, I just love seeing people stand up for what they think and going against the system. So Ice Cube walked away from a Jack Black movie. He walked away, this guy, because he's like, I'm not, try me, ho. He's not getting vaccinated. So he walked away from $9 million to do this movie because he wasn't for this mandate. Like, do you know how much you could buy with $9 million? How much? But the sad part is, even when people do speak up about this, I feel like then they're nowhere to be seen and they're swept under the rug. I mean, Nicki Minaj, my idol, my queen, she was like, Hollywood is lying to you. Half of the celebrities I know feel this way, and they're too big of a bag of pussies to say anything about it. So me and my cousin's friend's ball sack will, honey. But she went on this whole tirade and was willing to blow the lid off this joint and say what people are thinking and are afraid to say, and stand up and go, can't we just talk about it? I'm not saying not to get it. I'm not saying to run and, go give Fauci a blowjob and get it. I'm just saying, can't we talk about the risks and the potential downsides, But then next thing I know, like, she just showed up to a Real Housewives reunion and we never heard about it again. Like, Nikki, come on. Another one is Latisha Wright, who is in Black Panther. Latisha Wright there's been whisperings. If you remember, okay, she reposted a video that people thought was anti-vax. And then suddenly she straight up stole Iron Man's backpack, blew up into the Milky Way, which was nowhere to be seen. Her Twitter disappeared. It is a mystery of our times. But they're shooting Black Panther 2, and people have said that she's had anti-vax, quote, sentiment on the set. And then she quietly parted from her team of representatives, i.e. her agent, publicist, all this. But this is what I mean. It's like, if people dare have a different thought, we never hear from them again. It is like they are on that vacation in Hawaii I was talking about. They dug a sand pit, threw themselves into it, and they're all having a party being like, these people aren't going to tell us what to do. But where are they with this publicly? Okay. I like the stance from Anthony Anderson too. He was kind of in the LeBron James camp of like, to each their own. Basically, he's like, I'm not going to be the police of what you want to do with your body. Each individual has his or own rights. It's not, I'm not going to control someone's body. They are. But it's just funny because they are all over the place. It is like they are drunk and high and on the teacups ride at Disney. And speaking of Disney, because, these people are on one. Hi, Disney. They're on one. These people are going so ham on this, though. They're doing like a color coordinated system where you visibly have to have something to show like your status, whether it be like a badge. I read on one thing, it was a wristband if you're fully vaxxed. Like, what? I'm sorry. What is going on? Am I trying to get into a club for Scott Disick's latest some kind of, CBD product promo? Or am I going to shoot a goddamn movie? Like, what is this? I'm not online for the teacups ride. No, all I'm trying to do is go on here and go to rehearsal, and I have to wear this wristband. Like, what an aesthetic killer. I mean, I don't even know. Like, does it go with the wardrobe? I don't even know. And it's interesting to me too, because being in Hollywood, like we know how holistic, like the amount they are. I'm sorry, you like I fell victim to this after living in LA for 5 years. I'm sorry, like not one day goes by when I don't have one or a combination of some sort of green smoothie, lemon turmeric, ginger shot, and or almond butter. Like it, or oh, and I forgot oat milk. Like it just is what it is. They are all about this shit, and you know that. Do you know how many times? I mean, here are just some celebrities I worked out with: Shay Mitchell, Kelly Rowland, Mark Wahlberg. Yes, I've worked out with and have documentation basically with all of these celebs and more. So many promoting like healthy lifestyle and this and that. You know, they might as well be like having sex with the avocado farms out there because you know that they are all about it. Which is why, and I've said before, I think so many of them are like this mysterious liquid going in my body. Like I am not for it, but you know, we're not hearing from them. We're not. This is funny. I read in a story that there was an A-lister who cut ties with their yoga instructor because their yoga instructor wouldn't get vaccinated. Who do we think that A-lister is? I feel like that would be like Blake Lively or something personally, or like probably Jen Aniston, you know, one of those. But either way, hilarious. So our celebrities, you know, I bring it back to the beginning. On one end of this, I'm like, you know, maybe they are more like us than we think. Hence the whole 50-50 split, basically, you know, in Hollywood. But I forgot to mention too, and this is important. The last I checked, I'm just saying, which for whatever reason, this is like a weird thing to bring up and that you can't bring up. But COVID allegedly has a survival rate of 98.2%. Okay. But again, I digress kind of. So are they like these people affecting our lives in other ways? You know, these essential workers, these people bagging our groceries, flying us on airlines, very important stuff. And, you know, and on a serious note, like firefighters, cops, all these things. The answer, like I said, is no. You have these people. And again, this is what makes me think these are real heroes because they are making the real sacrifice to walk away. And this is why I say to you guys in Hollywood, you have a real moment right here. I know you guys are petrified of losing your agents, of losing your Ari Golds, although you know Ari Gold would never stand for this shit. Okay. But I'm just saying, you have a real moment right now to stand up. We need voices like yours. And I know that is coming from me, but it's true because you have people out there. You know, the truth is, guys, you're going to be fine without your $9 million paycheck because you're already rich. But guess what? The firefighter who's been busting his ass for 15 years and now is walking away with potentially nothing doesn't have that such luck. So I think in Hollywood, you guys have a real moment right now to stand up and use your voice, okay, for the real heroes of our time who don't have a platform like yours, but are out here making the real sacrifice because this matters. This, take a note out of Bill Maher's page, who even said, is this really about COVID anymore? Still, really? He's like, I haven't even seen my own show team in 2 years. This is ridiculous. So take a page out of Billy Boy's book. Okay. Are you guys, you love in Hollywood to speak up about things that matter. I could name a million causes right now. And guess what? This matters. This is impacting the people who could come and rescue your ass one day, despite it being a mansion with an infinity pool overlooking the Hollywood Hills. Are you going to be a trailblazer or are you going to be a big ass coward? And you know, recently Madonna spoke up about cancel culture and how no one wants to say anything or like cough or blink wrong, right, these days. And she responded to a quote that said, artists are here to disturb the peace. So what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna play it safe, be a little bitch boy, or for the greater good, for the real heroes, are you gonna disturb the peace?